Alrighty then, today, as you saw in my previous video, I made some meatballs. They're in the oven now, but now we're gonna make the Colonel's spaghetti meat sauce. It's gonna be 4 large onions, about 5 to 7 stalks of celery. This is my frozen chopped celery. I'm gonna use some home canned tomato sauce, some tomato juice, a commercial tomato sauce, and 3 tomato paste. This is a delicious recipe, and it takes, let's see, how many pounds? 3 pounds of ground chuck or ground meat. So I'm gonna get my onions chopped, and I'm gonna saute my onions, my celery, and I'm gonna put a little chunk of garlic in there from one of those little chopped garlic and olive oil things you get commercially. It ain't hard, it's just gonna cook all day. So I am using my very large Magnalite pot. I've got olive oil in the bottom. I'm gonna get it hot, and what we'll do first is we're going to cook our onions and that celery. And I found 3 pieces or 3 packages of white celery that I had at one time. I reorganized my chest freezer, which is a monthly going on thing because you take things out, you add things to it. So I'm gonna get that done. Then I remove that and I start browning the 3 pounds of ground beef. Ain't hard, spaghetti, meat sauce. So let's add a chunk of our celery, our white celery, un otro. Gonna have to turn our fan on, and let's get our onions in here. So I will rinse this bowl out, and after these onions and celery are cooked to translucent, oops, excuse my racket, then I'll put them right back in this bowl. So we're going to add our garlic now. As you can see, there's a lot more liquid. These onions have sweated well. They're much softer, and remember, this is gonna cook about 3 hours. So I'm just gonna chunk in my chunk of garlic. And then I'm gonna remove this and start browning the ground beef. I'm just gonna stir that garlic around in these hot onions because they is hot. I had to put on shorts. If I go outside, I'm gonna be chilly. It's a conundrum. So our goal here is not to burn our garlic. It ain't hard, it's cooking. You can do it, I can do it. I ain't nothing but a mouse. So let's add our ground beef. And it turns out this is ground chuck. It ain't pretty going in there. My heat, my gas burner, propane burner, is simply on medium. And our goal is not to completely cook this, it's simply to get it granular. Because again, it's gonna cook 3, 4, 6 hours, however many freaking hours I feel like cooking it before I eat it. Because I gotta go to the dog kennel today and play with 2 fat surrender dogs and my pit bull buddy. So I'll keep on keeping on, do something productive, organize a closet, make a menu, decide to try something new like bread, do something like that. We are nice and granular, not completely cooked, but the ground chuck is broken up. Now we're gonna add our vegetables back, our onion, ow, that's so hot on the bottom, and the celery. There we go. We're gonna mix that in. And I have a little, probably almost 3.5 pounds of ground chuck here. Ooh. So mixy. And then we just start adding our tomato juice, our sauce. It ain't hard. And this will feed Minnie and freeze as well. You can also can this. I prefer to freeze my spaghetti. So let's start out with our tomato juice, which will help loosen it. Let's put in the commercial sauce. No chunks of tomatoes right there. Get it all out. You pay for this stuff by the weight and how much is in it or not. And here is our own tomato sauce. Oh, pretty. So pretty. Who made that? I made that. Who's a canner? I'm a canner. Now, because I used more ground beef, because I didn't want to try and freeze 3/4 of a pound of ground beef, I may put in a large can of diced tomatoes. We'll see. But let's get our tomato paste in. I've got 3 of those. And as usual, I'm going to get it all. I'll come back. So there is our 3 tomato paste. And I'm going to rinse out to make sure I get everything out of these cans. I'm going to add about 3 pints of water. I want this mixture to be loose because remember it's going to cook a long time. Oh, I like it. And now I am going to put in a very large can of diced tomatoes. So there's a lot of liquid in that to get this a wee bit looser. I seriously dig this brand. Again, get it all scraped out. Oh yeah, now we're loose like we want it. So anyway, it's these. They're so yummy. And no salt added. Thank you very much. All right, so this is just gonna cook several hours. I will watch throughout the day with the lid cattywampus. If I need to add more liquid, I will add some more of my own tomato juice. The Colonel's spaghetti meat sauce. It ain't hard, and it freezes very well. And before I let it simmer, I am going to put chili powder in. And what we do is we cover the top completely with chili powder. There's an easier way to do this. There it is. It's usually one of the small little round ones. You use it completely. There we go. Now we get on to the simmering for hours business. Spaghetti meat sauce, easy peasy. Alrighty then, my spaghetti meat sauce is ready, and the word for this is nothing short of righteous. So it is time to add our meatballs. An hour into cooking, I added some basil and oregano from my garden that was dehydrated from last year, and just a few minutes ago added some more chili sauce, but wow, the flavor is good. I had to wait for my husband to come in because this pot needed to be lifted up onto that pot lifter because it was boiling too hard even on low. So let these meatballs finish cooking and get hot all the way through. I've got my other pot over there for my spaghetti, the pasta part. So here it is. I've shaved off a little Parmesan on top, and I made what I called cheater bread, which is I just broil some bread with some garlic powder and some butter pats on it. And it is not an evening meal to me if I don't have milk. So I am a milk person. This is so good. That was a slotted spoon I used, and this is such a rich meat sauce that it does not even fall through the slots. So this is the Colonel's spaghetti. And my taste tests were fantastic. Let's see how it is. I think it's a little hot. Oh yeah. Let's check out a meatball. Oh, that meatball's too hot to try. But it's cooked through and it's delicious. Spaghetti. The Colonel's spaghetti meat sauce, can't go wrong. Have a great one and stay weird. Keep it weird. So there is my husband's plate. Already had one, so that was our 2 dinners. I've got 3 lunches made with 2 meatballs each. Here, I have 9 large ladles, which will give us each a dinner and a lunch left over. So for $13 worth of ground chuck, this was a kicking deal. It took a lot of effort. My husband's got to wash the big pot because it's huge and it's Magnolite, and I think it weighs 875 pounds, but it ain't nothing to him. 2 freezer Ziplocs. The spaghetti is in the inside one. I lay it on a towel in the event that one of them burst. I will lay it in one of my freezer drawers to freeze flat, and then I'm able to file it, have these 3 stand up frozen in my chest freezer. So really good deal, some effort, several hours of cooking, lots of trash, but you know, it's cooking, feeding your family. This is very affordable.